Hello friends, it's good to have you again on another edition of Storytime with Charis. I love to wish you all a blessed Easter and thank you for joining me again today. If you've been joining us on our journey with Daisy and the trouble with maggots, you would know that we've come a long way with Daisy's adventures fishing with her uncle. If you've not yet subscribed, I'd like to encourage you to do so by clicking on the subscription button as well as the notification bell so that you get notified whenever I drop a new video. Now, like I always say, settle down, settle in, gather your little ones, get comfortable, and dive with me into this storytime adventure. Last time we stopped at chapter 20 of Daisy and the Trouble with Maggots by Kes Gray. Today we're going to be continuing from chapter 21. This is how I pinged Jack Beachwhistle and Harry Baylis with my fishing catapult. Step 1. I slowly lowered my fishing catapults so that they wouldn't notice it. Step 2. I slowly put my hand inside the maggot box. Get it? Step 1, she slowly lowers her catapult. And step 2, she slowly put her hand inside the maggot box. Step 3, I slowly got a great big handful of maggots. Step 4, I slowly put the maggots into the pouch. Step 5, I slowly put my ping finger inside the loop. Step 6, I slowly waited for the first 6 canoes to pass by in front of me. Step 7, then I quickly lifted up my catapult, pulled back my ping finger, and blam! Look at all the steps where she scooped a handful of maggots, put it in the pouch, put her finger in, and pulled back, and then blam. Okay, let's continue. I pinged Jack Beachwhistle and Harry Baylis all over with maggots. Look at them. They don't look too happy about that. Wow. It was brilliant. Jack Beachwhistle tried to duck out of the way, but Harry had never seen a catapult before, so he didn't even know what I was doing. By the time he realized he'd been sprinkled with maggots, I'd pinged maggots all over him again. It was so funny. Jack Beachwhistle tried to paddle away really fast, but then he remembered he was a second-best canoe expert, and his job was to stay at the back behind Harry, which meant he had to come back for more. I was laughing so much when I pinged him the third time, I nearly fell off my seat. Then my uncle sat up to see what I was doing. Look at Daisy, so happy with herself. All right. At first, I thought he'd be really cross. But when I told him I'd pinged Jack and Harry by accident, he told me to be more careful and lay back down on the picnic blanket, which meant I could try and ping them with maggots again. Trouble is, they were out of range now, so my maggots wouldn't reach. After he'd paddled past me, Jack Beachwhistle looked back and tried to splash water at me with his paddle, but he missed by miles. Then he stuck his tongue out even further and he crossed his eyes. Okay. I stuck my tongue out as far as I possibly could, and I called him a canoe face. Look at Daisy. Daisy's so mischievous. Which serves him right, because it was him and Harry who started it, not me. If him and Harry hadn't told me all those fibs about fishing, then I wouldn't have pinged maggots at them at all. I might even have waved nicely at them instead. I might even have pinged them some cheesy puffs, but I didn't. I pinged the big fat fibbers with big fat maggots instead, which was totally their fault. Daisy, look at Daisy, frowning and trying to justify her actions. Chapter 22. The trouble with pinging Jack and Harry with maggots is it really makes you want to ping them again, even though you know you really shouldn't. And especially if your uncle has told you not to. Trouble was, Jack Beachwhistle and Harry Bayliss had paddled too far down the river for me to reach them, so I couldn't ping them again anyway. Which meant I had to think of something else to aim at instead. First of all, I looked at my float, but I'd already aimed at that before. Then I aimed at my keep net, but that was too easy to hit. Then I aimed at a dragonfly, but it wouldn't stop darting around. Look at her float, and look at her keep net, and look at the dragonfly that wouldn't stop dancing around. So I had no choice, really. I had to aim at some river air instead. The trouble with aiming at river air is sometimes an actual riverboat can get in the actual way, especially if the sun is shining in your eyes at the same time that you ping the maggots out of your catapult. That's exactly what kind of happened to me. Can you believe it? Just as I fired at this really small piece of river air, nothing. A riverboat sailed straight past in front of it, and the sun really came out straight in my eyes, which meant my maggots missed the river air I was aiming at and hit the riverboat in front of me instead. The trouble with accidentally pinging maggots into a riverboat is the people on the boat might be having a picnic as well, which means your maggots might end up in their picnic basket or in their cups of tea without them noticing at first. Oopsie daisy. Look. She has pinged the riverboat and the maggots are flying everywhere. Look at the people having a picnic on the riverboat. The trouble with noticing there's a maggot in your cup of tea is it makes ladies on boats scream really loudly. Ooh. Oh my goodness. And spit their tea out into the river, which makes your uncle sit up and your auntie and your mum, all of them are startled. Uncle Clive, Mum and Auntie Sue. The trouble with seeing maggots in ladies' hair is it makes men on boats shout quite loudly too, especially if the ladies are freaking out. Look at the men shouting quite loudly and the ladies freaking out, which makes your mum, auntie and uncle get up off the picnic blanket and stare right across the river and then at me. Just look, they're all very cross. And look at Daisy. At first, I thought I'd pretend I was too busy fishing to notice. That way, they wouldn't know the maggot pinger was me. But when the man on the boat threw the whole tray of cakes into the river, including the tray, I decided I'd better try and hide the catapult fast. The trouble with trying to hide a catapult fast is the only place I could think to put it was up my stripy t-shirt. Trouble is, it made my tummy bulge. Plus, my uncle saw me hide it there, which wasn't good. But before he could say anything, there was a really loud scream from up the river, which wasn't good either. Then there were some really, really loud whistles from up the river too, which made things even worse. And then the riverboat at Pinged Maggots at crashed into the bank beside us, which made things terrible. And then the whistles up the river got even louder and louder and louder, which was really bad news because we weren't the only ones who could hear them. After about 12 really loud whistles, even the people in the cafe by the lock gates had run up the river to see what was happening. Oh, Daisy, you've caused a mess. Look at the people running up to see what had happened. Look at Daisy looking all forlorn, gazing at the riverboat crashed at the bank, and Uncle Clive, Mom, and Auntie Sue. Daisy must feel very, very embarrassed. Uncle Clive didn't know whether to run up the river towards the whistles or help the people who had crashed their boat right beside us. I did. I ran up the river as fast as I could with Auntie Sue and my mom, except that when I saw where the whistles were coming from, I kind of wished I'd stayed in my seat. Look at Uncle Clive, looking sad. The people looking so upset. Daisy running with her mom and Auntie Sue. Right in the middle of river, Jack Beachwhistle and Harry Baylis had dropped their paddles and were doing really, really fast kayak rolls. At first, I thought they were practicing, but after about 6 rolls, I realized that they were the only children who were doing them. Harry Baylis and Jack Beachwhistle. Plus, every time the man with the whistle told them to stop, they just kept doing another turbo spin upside down and under the water again. Double plus, each time their faces came up out of the water, their eyes went kind of bulgy and their lips kind of squealed like the ladies on the boat, like something was freaking them out too. Which meant, I was in even bigger trouble now. The trouble with having maggots in your pants is they're really hard to get out, especially if your legs are wedged inside a canoe. Oops, look at this. That's what happened to Harry and Jack. Some of my maggots had gone down the necks of their life jackets and crawled right down their backs and into their undies. They hadn't realized until they were further down the river, which meant there was nothing that Harry and Jack could do except freak. Plus, roll over and over and over in the water every time they felt a maggot wriggle around their bottoms, which was really, really funny. Everyone felt sorry for them, but I thought it was hilarious. In the end, 4 grown-ups had to dive in, otherwise they'd still be spinning round and round in the water now. After Harry and Jack had been got out of their canoes, they had to take their trousers down to shake the maggots out of their pants. I even saw their bare bottoms. It was so funny. Trouble is, then Jack told everyone that the maggots had been pinged by me. Daisy, Daisy, Daisy. Which wasn't funny at all. Double trouble is, then Uncle Clive arrived with the people who had crashed their boat. Plus a strawberry cheesecake with maggots all over it. So then, I had to own up to everything, which got me into something my mom called really deep water, which means really big trouble without getting wet. As from today, I am officially banned from pinging anything with the catapults ever again. Plus, I'm not allowed cheesy puffs or cherryade in my picnics ever again. Mom says the E-numbers drive me off the rails, whatever that means. Plus, can you believe it? I'm banned from fishing with Uncle Clive for a whole month. That's for weeks and 2 whole days. Poor Daisy. But she deserved it, actually. She only got what she deserved. Chapter 23. The trouble with being banned from going fishing again for 4 whole weeks and 2 whole days is it makes you even crosser. I mean, just when I was getting really good at fishing and pinging, Jack Beachwhistle and Harry Baylis had to come along in their canoes and spoil everything. Now, Daisy is not being accountable. She's blaming other people for her actions. Let's proceed. If I hadn't been made to pack all my fishing gear away by my mom, I reckon I'd have caught an even bigger dace or roach yesterday afternoon. I'd probably have caught a bigger fish than my Uncle Clive. Now that's Daisy refusing to be accountable but blaming other people for her actions. Let's proceed. Uncle Clive said he didn't think we would have caught very many more fish at all. He said that once a boat crashes into a riverbank in front of you, the sound of the crash usually frightens all the fish away. Fish don't eat very much when they're frightened. Plus, we only had 2 maggots left in our bait box. I pinged all the others into the river. In the car on the way home, Uncle Clive said that I shouldn't be cross. I should be reflective. Trouble is, I don't know what reflective means. So, I'm going to stay cross instead. Just like my mom. Mom says that pinging maggots at people in boats is an absolutely disgusting thing to do. And if she'd known Uncle Clive was going to let me ping maggots all over the place, she wouldn't have let me go fishing in the first place. And she wouldn't have let me have any cheesy puffs either. When I got to school this morning, Jack Beachwhistle and Harry Baylis were waiting outside the school gates yet again. Except this time, they had their moms with them too. Oh no. Jack Beachwhistle and Harry Baylis and both their moms, looking very cross. So I got into even more trouble. Jack Beachwhistle's mom said that Jack and Harry might have nearly drowned when the maggots wriggled into their pants, and that firing missiles at children in canoes was a very naughty thing to do. And it was. Oh well, at least I saw their bare bodies. They won't be telling me any more fibs after that. Daisy, 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 Daisy. Plus, Harry Baylis doesn't need any more kayak roll practice now either. In fact, thanks to me, Harry and Jack Beachwhistle are now the 2 best kayak rollers in the world. I'm really, really glad I went fishing with my Uncle Clive. It was so much fun, even if I did get told off. And even if I am banned from fishing and catapults and cheesy puffs and cherry aid. If you ask me, Jack Beachwhistle and Harry Baylis deserved every single maggot I pinged at them. Plus, the 2 maggots I put in their pencil cases at break time today. Daisy has not learnt her lesson yet. Look at Jack Beachwhistle and Harry Baylis shot at the maggot in their pencil case. And that ends our story time of the book, Daisy and the Trouble with Maggots. Wow. Daisy's been through a lot of mischief in this particular chapter. In my opinion, Daisy should have been more accountable, should have learned her lesson. I'm sure she was punished. She was punished for her mistakes. She was put on timeout. She was banned from fishing for a month with her Uncle Clive. And I guess we can't win them all, right? Her uncle her uncle told her something that actually we can all reflect on, and that is to be reflective of our actions. We hope that along the line, Daisy would have been reflective of her actions. All right, so that we've come to an end of this story, and our next video, we will be diving into a new story time, a new storybook entirely, a totally new storybook. I can't wait, and I don't know what it will be, but I hope you will join me again next time, where we'll uncover and diving into a new adventure with Storytime with Charis. Thanks for joining me again, and I wish you a blessed Easter Monday and a great week ahead. God bless.